Good morning. My name is Olaf Swanzy. I'm a UK Director of P&O and also a Senior Innovation Consultant. And I've got the relatively impossible task of in 15 minutes giving you a quick overview of the European and national funding landscape. Now luckily Mike's following me, so there may be some Innovate UK schemes that I cover which I may just touch upon. Mike will cover a little bit more detail. Just in terms of introduction, the P&O Group are Europe's leading innovation funding consultancies who really are the biggest practice in Europe dedicated to the pursuit of grant funding. When I say grant funding, I'm predominantly talking about funding for research and development. We are active across the entire grant acquisition process, from the initial identification right through to the securing of the grant itself, and we're active across all principal industry sectors. We are pan-European in coverage as well, so one of the things that if you are looking for European partners, we can support that process. Now I'm not pitching to you, but one thing I would like to publicise and promote is our free online grants portal. Now this is a very useful database which is open to companies and organisations across Europe. We've got about 10,000 clients who are based on there, and it's a nice tool to inform you of upcoming national and European calls, provides you the opportunity to actually identify European partners within Europe, or partners within Europe, as well as if you're looking for a potential partner, it's almost like a marriage or relationship building tool as well. I'll leave this up for a second, and then obviously if you want to take it afterwards, you can do. Okay, now in terms of funding at a national level, majority of the schemes that I'm going to cover are funded by Innovate UK. The first one that I would certainly publicise and promote to you is the SMART programme. Now this is an ongoing SME support programme funded by Innovate UK. It is a single applicant scheme, so you need to be delivering the majority of the research and development yourself if you're an SME. You can include subcontracting, and that is a permitted cost. Basically what Innovate UK are looking to do is to support research and development across all sectors from which new products, processes and services will emerge, and the key word there being new. It must be innovative. It is obviously a national scheme with an SME focus. Now the nice thing about SMART is it has an ongoing deadline. Every 2 months there are calls or batch assessments, and it's a relatively fast assessment process as well, about 4 weeks, which by general grants body standards is pretty quick. In terms of funding levels, it depends on the maturity of your project. It will fund across 3 principal categories. Proof of market, looking at the commercial viability of a new idea. Maximum grants up to 25k, and that's on a 60% support basis. And that really is for looking at the potential of your idea, conducting market research, looking at competitors, looking at the IP position, really building steps to take that product or that idea forward. Proof of concept grants, this is very much about early prototyping, so looking at the technical feasibility or commercial potential of your technology. Typically up to 18 months, projects up to a maximum grant of 100k, and that's on a 60% support basis. So for that I would very much suggest it's very much around early stage prototyping. For something a little bit closer to market, obviously higher cost, there's the development of prototypes. This is really looking at a development of a pre-production prototype or a works like, looks like prototype. It's not a commercial model that will come out of this research, but it is taking you that much closer to market. For small and micro businesses, a 45% support basis, medium enterprises 35%, and that's up to a maximum grant of 250,000. And as I said, very nice scheme on an ongoing basis. So if you are conducting our research and development and you are an SME, I would certainly look to this scheme as a funding source. Collaborative R&D, well, as the clue suggested, is all about promoting collaborative research and development across key areas of science and technology. Again, another Innovate UK funding programme. This is against set calls, so whereas SMART is very much open in terms of the topic, collaborative R&D is against thematic areas, calls published on the Innovate UK website. It is collaborative, always industry-led, and obviously as a collaborative scheme has to involve a minimum of 2 partners. And it is open to academia, SMEs and large organisations. Different funding levels depending on the maturity of your project, and again, ongoing calls which are publicised through Innovate UK. Catalysts. Catalysts are a relatively new scheme. They are jointly funded by Innovate UK and the research councils. I think Mike will cover a little bit the energy one in a little bit more detail, but there are catalysts for a number of different sectors. It does promote collaborative and single applicant research. And it's open as the collaborative R&D scheme is to academia, large organisations and SMEs as well. Again, funding competitions for the catalyst available through Innovate UK. Typically large project, or can be up to large projects, typically up to around 3 million. The categories of funding are here, but I think Mike will cover those in a little bit more detail. And there is obviously one dedicated to energy. Okay, now moving slightly closer to Europe now, but still with a national focus, another funding program to consider if you are looking at attempting to gain money through European funding sources and involving collaborative research with another member state. So the Eurostars program is an ongoing scheme, typically 2 calls per year, and it's there to support research performing SMEs. It's a bottom-up scheme, so it's open in terms of topic, energy being a key focus for them. Eurostars does require collaboration, and it does require collaboration from another Eurostars member state, which in the majority of cases is most member states. In the UK, only SMEs can apply. The rules are slightly different in other member states because they can be more open. But in the UK, only SMEs can apply, and they can gain up to 60% support, up to a maximum grant of 360k. Projects are typically 3 years in duration, and it is a commercially focused funding program. So one of the key requirements is 2 years after your project completion, you must have something in the marketplace. Okay. The next call is the 15th of March, and then there's another one mid-September. If you're doing R&D, you should be claiming the R&D tax credit. I won't dwell on this in too much detail because I'm sure that the majority of you are already working with this scheme. If you're not claiming the R&D tax credit, then I would have a serious word with your accountant. It's basically a way of claiming some of the tax back on labour and subcontracting costs and consumables for research activity that you've carried out. If you're looking to develop a relationship with academia, you feel that you could benefit from academia in terms of access to skills or infrastructure, then I would certainly look at the Ktp scheme. It's an ongoing scheme that's been around for quite a while, and it really is all about supporting, in particular, SMEs looking to gain access to new skills, equipment that perhaps they wouldn't normally have access to. It's typically a third contribution, a 2/3 contribution, and a third must come from the company, which is typically around about a 20k contribution. Okay, very quickly, funding at a European level. It's not as complicated as people can make out. The largest funding program for research and development of Europe is Horizon 2020, and this is really a very large funding program designed to drive forward European research. It's a 70 billion budget over the next 7 years, and will launch and go up until 2020. And it consolidates the previous FP7 and CIP programs. This is it. This is all Horizon 2020 is. So basically, 3 main strands. The first one is the tackling societal challenges. So this is addressing key issues facing European citizens. The second area is the creating industrial leadership strand. This is all about driving forward areas of research that Europe is particularly strong on. So I won't go through each of these individually, you can see for yourself. So the first 2 boxes, the tackling societal challenges and the creating industrial leadership strand, are against set pools. So these are against set work programs which are published by the European Commission, typically with a 2-year coverage. So each work program will normally cover calls up over a 2-year period. The excellence in science base is all about making sure that the best researchers in Europe stay in Europe and have access to the best infrastructure. So again, this is open to calls throughout the year against set work programs. Whereas the tackling societal challenges and the industrial leaderships is more thematic based. The excellence in science based is a little bit more open. In all honesty, academia is probably more appropriate to the excellence in science based, but there are still opportunities for industry and also SMEs to participate. Now, in terms of the funding process, compared to previous European calls, Horizon 2020 is relatively straightforward, or at least that's how it's been designed. There is 2 funding rates. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be an SME, you could be a large company. If you're doing R&D, you're going to get 100% funding. If you're developing innovation projects, which are typically demonstration projects, it's 70% funding. It's a flat overhead rate. So again, it doesn't matter who you are, it's a flat overhead rate for everybody. By European standards, it's also a relatively fast evaluation process, about 8 months. So obviously you've got to build that into your project plan. You've got to make sure that you are prepared to wait for an outcome. The good news though is that around 15% of all Horizon 2020 funding is supposed to go to SMEs. They're actually hoping that that will actually be higher, but 15% is their target. Just a couple of programs within Horizon 2020 just to highlight to you today. The first one is the SME Instrument. So imagine this is very much the big SMART program like I introduced at the beginning. And this is available for highly innovative SMEs with strong international ambitions. So if you are an SME who perhaps have already developed a product which is already established in the UK and you're looking to expand that into a European marketplace through a program of research and development, or you're looking to demonstrate it, the SME Instrument is certainly a scheme that could be considered. It is not for early stage research, it is for projects which are really about a TRL level 6 and above. So you really do have to have a product which has already been proven, certainly in a lab scale environment, possibly even with early product sales. It is only applicable to SMEs, so only SMEs can apply, and it is an ongoing scheme. It is an ongoing scheme that the Commission will publish around 4 calls per year, the next one being the 18th of March. Just to very quickly just go through the categories, it's a 3-phase process, although you don't have to go in a chronological order. Phase 1 is very much about developing a business plan, and it is only a business plan. It's looking at the potential of your idea in a European marketplace. They will fund you up to 50k for that Phase 1 project. The second phase is for the research and development activity itself. Now they will fund here up to 2.5 to 3 million euros. Healthcare projects get up to 5 million euros because obviously it does cover things like clinical trials. But this is all about the prototyping, testing, piloting your technology in a European marketplace. Okay? And then the third phase is a very unique package of support from the European Commission. They will actually help you to commercialise your technology in a European marketplace. They will help you raise money, additional money is really needed. They will coach you, they will allocate an appropriate person to work with you to overcome IP issues or any legal issues, or to even knock on customers' doors. So it's quite a unique package of support aimed at SMEs, and it's there to really bridge this kind of valley of death. So it's a unique package of support. There is no direct funding, it is through mentorship. You can go straight into phase 2. The majority of projects do go through in that chronological order. As I said, on this side you can see the deadlines for 2015. It is an ongoing scheme, but you have to be mature enough. Very quickly, similar to the SMEI scheme, but this time not specifically restricted to SMEs, it is bottom-up. It's the FTI program. This is a new package of support. This is the first call for this is coming up. This has not been launched previously. And again, this scheme is very similar to SMEI in the fact that it is looking at mature projects. This time looking at typically a collaborative research scheme. So whereas SMEI you can go in as a single applicant, FTI is a little bit more focused on collaborative research. Okay. Funding levels typically up to about 2 million and 70% support basis. And very finally, on the European side, LIFE program. The LIFE program is Europe's main funding instrument to support the demonstration of novel environmental technologies. So it's not research and development, it is for demonstration projects, projects which are both innovative and contribute to European environmental policy. It's a 3.4 billion pot, it lies outside of Horizon 2020 and it's open to everybody. It's open to SMEs, large companies, public organisations, etc. 50% support, no minimum or maximum funding level, typically around 1 to 5 million contribution. And projects are typically up to around 48 months, and there's only 1 call per year for LIFE, and that's typically in September. Okay, just a final slide. If you are considering grant funding, these are some tips and tricks just to take into account. First of all, you must meet the programme objectives. It is not about your project, it is about how your project meets the grant's objectives. So make sure you carefully read the guidelines, a couple of times even. In nearly all cases, it is industrial focused, so you must have a very clear business opportunity and a very clear market need. You must have, same as any investor we'll look at, you must have a strong commercialisation and exploitation plan with clear economic, social, environmental benefits even outside of your immediate company. So looking at the benefits to the supply chain, looking at the benefits to citizens. You must have a clear, thought-out technical work programme against set tasks or work packages. So make sure that you do take into account how that project's going to be delivered. Now this may seem a little bit strange, but grant bodies do like to see risk. Technological risk in particular. So highlighting how your technology is new, but also because it's a research and development program, what risks are you going to encounter and how are you going to mitigate those? Must obviously be clear of commercial innovation. You can't be doing something which is off the shelf unless there is a step change in terms of what you're doing. They will look at the quality of the management team. Do you have the ability to deliver the research and development program, and most importantly, do you also have the ability to commercialise it? Match funding should also be considered. Grants are very rarely paid up to 100%, so you need to give some consideration to how you're actually going to match fund the project itself. And if you're looking at collaborative research, make sure you're using partners that are actually adding something. Don't just bolt them on for the sake of having a collaborative project. Okay, that's it. Hopefully I've given you a quick overview of what is available. Obviously I'm happy to speak to any of you individually afterwards. Thank you.
Olaf, thank you very much for that very detailed presentation.